We are honored to have you today in the Bible class of Life Change Worship. Today we have a very special guest, one of our Urshan students, Brother Colton Davis, who resides in St. Louis but is a native of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. We are honored to have him, and he has volunteered to take our lesson and go with it today. So let's give Brother Davis a good hand of praise this morning.
Appreciate you, brother. Thank y'all so much, first off, for having me. It is a pleasure. This opportunity to speak is not something I take lightly. I want y'all to know that a lot of prayer and preparation went behind this. I'm very excited to see what God has for us today. A lot of prayer and preparation as I was up until like 4 in the morning last night, making sure this was perfect and to the T. I'm not too far away from y'all. Myrtle Beach is awesome. I love it very much. Y'all should come visit sometimes. My cousin actually lives in Oak Grove, so right outside. He's in the Army, outside of Fort Campbell. He had a kid like 2 months ago, so I just got to see that baby on the way up here. Cutest thing in the whole entire world. I don't usually like babies that much, but his baby, super cute. The lesson I prepared for y'all today is called A Perfect Man. It is based on the story of Job. In general, life is crazy. We all know this. I find the life of Job particularly interesting because of how much he lost. You could say Job lost everything. He got to a point where he could have easily cursed the Lord. He could have been angry. So why didn't he? Why didn't Job turn his back on God? And if we had faced the same things, would we still be here? I think it's powerful. The whole story, I literally reread it in preparation for this lesson. Just such a powerful story of a man who was so committed, and even through so much trial, he stayed trusting in the Lord. See, the whole story, we think God just wants to prove the devil wrong. God is giving the devil this much reign over Job's life so he can have bragging rights or something like that. But really what God wants is for Job to prove him right. Job, prove that you are faithful to me through anything. Prove me right that you are perfect and an upright man. No matter what happens and transpires throughout your life, prove me right, Job. Job 1:8 says, "And the Lord said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and an upright man, one that feareth God and escheweth evil." Escheweth meaning run away from. He was a man who ran away from evil, avoided it completely. The Lord himself pointed out Job to Satan, a man after God's own heart, saying there isn't a man like him. That makes us think, would God be that confident in our walk to point us out? Would God say that of us? Do our lives reflect a true Christian as Job's life did? And if we were put to the test, would we curse God or go into deeper covenant with him? You see, the devil had a response to what God said. The devil's witty. He's witty. He always has a response. He's always something to say, some doubt to speak into your mind. Hast not thou made an hedge about him, speaking on Job, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side? Thou hast blessed the work of his hands, and his substance is increased in the land. But put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. He's talking to God. If you take what he has, his life is perfect. Of course he lives for you. His life, there's nothing wrong. Everything's going right for him. Of course he lives for you, God. Why wouldn't he? See, what Satan is saying is the only reason Job had lived for God was because he already had abundance. He already had everything he could want. Why would he curse God if his life was perfect? It doesn't make any sense. We never curse God when our life is perfect, when everything's going right. You see, the devil is trying to make it that if Job had a rough life, if things were going wrong, Job wouldn't be living for God. That's why he tells God to lift up his hand against Job. Satan is just so sure that if things start to go awry, in Job's life, he'll curse God, that he will walk away from serving the Lord. So in verse 12, God responds. God's amazing. "And the Lord said unto Satan, Behold, all that I hath is in thy power, all that Job hath. Only upon himself put not forth thine hand, So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. This is crazy. God literally tells Satan to go and test Job. You can do anything you want. Just don't kill him. That's scary, right? Satan, go do whatever you want to this person, but just don't kill him. You can do anything else you want. That's terrifying. I would be so scared. Trust. It makes me think maybe when we go through trials sometimes, things that don't make any sense to us, why is this happening to me, right? The tragedies that we feel we didn't deserve. It is really just a test from God. He lets the devil test us in order for us to prove him right. That we are good people, upright, and perfect in the eyes of the Lord. I know none of us are perfect, but God lets the devil test us. There's meant to be storms in our life. We are meant to go through trial. We are meant to lose. We are meant to suffer. And it's not a super happy message. You're not going to go home and be like, oh my gosh, like, guess what Colton said today? We're meant to suffer. But I promise you, God gives double portions and blessings to people who suffer. If God let the devil have free reign on my life, how would I respond? How would you respond when faced with these things, with these atrocities, with these hard times? And people leave the church when people don't seem that they're interested anymore, or don't love God, or lose it. Family members who lose the truth. How do you react to losing somebody you love and care about who's special to you? See, but listen, this is when the story gets crazy. Verses 13 through 19 says, and there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job and said, the oxen were plowing and the asses feeding beside them, and the Sabeans fell upon them and took them away. Yea, they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only and escape alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came another and said, the fire of God is fallen from heaven and hath burned up the sheep and the servants and consumed them. And I only and escape alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, it keeps going. It gets worse, all right? Just wait. There came also another and said, the Chaldeans made out 3 bands and fell upon the camels and have carried them away, yea, and slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell me. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in their eldest brother's house, and behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness and smote the 4 corners of the house. It's crazy. A great wind from the wilderness. And it fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Imagine. Sometimes us, we could get told one thing. Not that great, not something too crazy. And we just give up on God. We just like, oh, God doesn't care about us. God doesn't want me. God doesn't need me. Like, he doesn't care. Why would he let these things happen to me? Job lost his sheep. I don't know how important that is, but back then, sheep were pretty important, all right? He needs the wool, servants, camels, and all 10 of his children. All 10. I can't even imagine. There was someone in my church who was a brother to me named Will. He was family. He was important. Out of the blue, I got a call one day, and Will had a brain aneurysm, and he passed away. This was a man like God to me. Not like God, not in that way, but someone who lived like you think Jesus would live. Walked like Jesus would walk. And I was so confused. I think I was 16 at the time. I'm only 21 now. It's not like forever and ever ago, but I can't be like back in the day, but I was a youngin', and this didn't make sense to me. I didn't really understand pain. I didn't understand loss. I didn't get it. I was young, and I remember sobbing on the floor. God, why? Why would you do this? God, I don't understand. Why me? I don't deserve it. But it was always so incredible to me watching his parents come to church and worship the Lord. Will's parents. They didn't miss church. They always came and they were faithful. When they could have easily resided in their pain and they could have been bitter with God. See, that's what happens sometimes. We get so bitter that we can't get over that. There's so much pain and hurt that instead of turning to God, we turn to all these other things, substances, alcohol, whatever it is. Like you depend on these things. You build a wall for yourself. You're comfortable here. But Will's parents, I didn't understand. I was watching them. I'm like, why are y'all worshiping? Your son died yesterday. I was there at the funeral. I saw him in the casket. I was hurt. I was broken. I was bitter with God personally. I was mad. I was angry. I was. In my humanity, I have imperfections. You see, we all have imperfections. We all do wrong things. None of us are perfect. But I couldn't understand why these people were so faithful. That's powerful. You would think that surely what Job did, right, was to curse God. He would blame God for his afflictions and curse him and denounce him. After all this loss and pain, Job, don't you hate God? Don't you hate God? But that's not what Job did, you see. In the next verse it says, this is powerful. Verse 20 says, then Job arose and rent his mantle. He rent his mantle and shaved his head and fell down upon the ground and worshiped. Come on. Rent his mantle, he shaved his head, and he fell down upon the ground and worshiped. And said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall I return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. And all this, Job sinned not, nor charged God foolishly. That's incredible. What a response. And this isn't fairy tale or folklore. This isn't just some made up story for kids to listen to. This is a true story about a man who lost so much, but trusted in God through it. See, we go through times of hardship and times of loss and times of pain. Trust me, I've lost things in my life. I have friends who are not here today, and I don't understand it, and I don't get it. But God gives a double portion to those who stay trusting in him through their trial and through their disappointment, through their pain. God will make a way for you as long as you can wrench your mantle and get on your knees and pray to God. So powerful. Man, I could read that all day. The Lord had taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. But that's what it feels like sometimes. I've been in seasons of my life where I feel like I'm doing all the right things, but for some reason, I'm facing these trials. I don't get it. I'm dealing with tribulations without cause. Why? Why are we dealing with these things, right? Like, don't y'all, I know y'all think that sometimes. Like, everything, you feel like you're doing the right things for God. You feel like you're submitted and you built this covenant and you wake up in the morning and your life is given to God and still bad things are happening to you. Doesn't make sense, right? Doesn't. You would like to think like in a fairy tale world that it'll all be sunshine and rainbows and you wake up in the morning, there's candy on the table, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's perfect. But like sadly, life is not like that. But sometimes, I mean, life has its good moments, trust. But can you stick with God through the bad? And Satan answered the Lord and said, skin for skin, yea, all the man hath will he give for his life. Put forth thine hand now, and touch his bone and his flesh, and he will curse thee to thy face. He's still so sure. He's so sure. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, he is in thine hand, but save his life. You can still do whatever you want. I know that you already lost all 10 of his kids and his sheep and his servants. He already went through this, but he's still in thy hand, Satan. Do what you want. He's going to prove me right. Confidence God had. Would God have that confidence in us? Saying, do whatever you want, but they're still going to serve me. No matter what happens, they're still going to serve me. They're going to lose people. They're going to be hurt and broken, but they're still going to come back to this altar and they're going to lift their hands. When Will died, his parents came in and they lifted their hands and they were still loving God. They didn't hate him. So went Satan forth from the presence of the Lord and smote Job with sore boils from the sole of his foot unto his crown, all over his body. It's painful. That's no joke. And he took him a potsherd to scrape himself withal, scraped him off of his body. And he sat down among the ashes. Then said his wife unto him, dost thou still retain thine integrity? Curse God and die. Curse him. She's like, this is simple. Clearly you've done something wrong. Just curse him and die. But he said unto her, thou speakest as one of the foolish women speaketh. What? Shall we receive good at the hand of God? And shall we not receive evil? And in all this, did not Job sin with his lips? That's powerful. We receive so much good from God. What makes us think that we are above trial? When did we start thinking that there wouldn't be storms? You see, it's easy to live for God when life's easy. I know you've all heard that statement, but it is very easy to coast with God when everything is going right, when everything is perfect. I can live for God as long as I want to, but in the trials in my life, not too long ago, I was at Urshan College. I had to leave for reasons, mistakes that I made, things that I did wrong. And I was bitter. I was so bitter with God. Why did these things happen to me? You see, I thought life would be perfect. I thought it was just going to go in the way that I envisioned it, that I planned it. I set my life before me. I was like, God, this is the way I want it. This is the way you're going to take me, right? You promised me all these things. And sometimes when it doesn't go wrong, when it didn't all go right, when my life changed and everything felt like it was falling apart, I wanted to leave. I was done with God. I was tired. I was tired of trying to prove everything to everybody. I was tired of trying to be that person for my parents. I was tired of living under my dad's mantle. I was tired of it. I was so weighted. It was hard. I'd given up. I was tired of God. I was cursing God. See, God is faithful. Even in your worst times, your worst moments, even when you're at your lowest, even when you turn your back on God, he still loves you. He still cares about you. He still wants you, and there's still a place for you in his kingdom. See, Job's wife tells him to curse God. And sometimes it can be the people closest to us who tell us to give up on what God has for us. The people closest to you. Be careful who you let in your ear. Like these are your best friends that you've considered your whole life. They don't always want the best things for you. It might be hard to hear, but it's true. Be careful who you let in your ear. Just because there is a trial doesn't mean we aren't in the will of God. You just have to trust him. It's easier said than done, I know. You just have to trust him. I have written down right here. That's hard to do. He brought you there for a reason, though. Believe in him to get you out. All right? God will bend you. He won't break you. But you'll get bent. Expect it. In the following verses, Job's friends come to see him. They have heard of this evil that has befallen him. When they get there, they sit with him on the ground for 7 days and 7 nights and mourn with him. Those are good friends. Those are good friends at the start. At the start. They seem like great friends, right? They seem amazing. They sat down in his grief with him 7 days and 7 nights. Me personally, I would never do that for one of my friends, all right? I can't even lie, would it? I would pray for them and wish the best, but I'm not sitting down with you for 7 days and 7 nights. Still love you. All right? But you see, Job was in a dark spot. He had just lost so much in his humanity, he couldn't understand it. God's ways are greater than ours. So he cursed his day. These men, these friends that have come to see me, Job believed that he must have committed some sort of deep sin for these trials that have happened to him. You see, his friends they're thinking like, Job, why is this happening to you? They don't get it either. They're like, you must have done something wrong. You must have done something wrong. That's what we think, right? Why did he deserve this? Job was a perfect and upright man. He didn't do anything wrong. See, that's what we'd all think. There has to be some reason these bad things are happening to us. Why is this happening to me? I don't deserve it, God. But no, not always. Sometimes bad things happen to good people. And reading these scriptures, Job is confused on why these things have happened. So he questions God. Is that not us? Are we not Job sometimes? Questioning God through trial, through tribulation, giving up on God, giving up on what he's promised and what he told us we'd have. See, God doesn't lie. He does not lie. What he said to you at the beginning is still what's promised to you in the future. What he's promised this church, that's incredible. That is going to happen. It's going to come to fruition. I believe in that vision. There might be road bumps or things in the way that get in front of you, and it might seem like, how is this possible? How How can we get here? There's people that are leaving. There's people that don't seem like they care. There's people that aren't committed enough to this church. You have doubts. Everybody doubts. It is our human nature to doubt things. But I see a man in this. I see a man, Job. Wow. He lost everything. And he rents his mantle and he shaved his head. And he said, God, I know it's not your ways, and they're greater than mine. This is humble. Makes you humble yourself a little bit. This story, I felt real humbled after this story. After complaining so much about these little things in my life, these insignificant things that I've made these giants. Job speaks one of my favorite scriptures, literally one of my prayers when I face hardships. He says, in verse 15, this is in like chapter 31, I might be wrong. God, do not slay me. He says, verse 15, though he slay me, yet will I trust in him. You know it, brother. I like this man. He's like my preaching buddy right here. Though he slay me, yet will I trust in him, but I will maintain mine own ways before him. Though he slay me, yet will I trust. Job already made up his mind. He already made up his mind he was going to serve the Lord. See, it's a lot easier if we already make up our mind. If we're not like 1 foot here and 1 foot here is a horrible object lesson, but do you understand what I'm saying? We're not on two sides of the fence. See, like the world's right here. No, this is the platform. That should be the church. The church is here, all right, and the world's down here. You know how it's easy to transition. I can walk up these stairs all day. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm in the world now. God didn't give me everything I wanted. I didn't get what I thought. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get what he told me I was going to get. I can't trust in God anymore. I'm going to stay right here. I'm comfortable here. I like it here. In the world, like, this makes me feel good. This is a significant high in my life right now. I like this. Like, the world always leaves you empty, though. It does. It does. I know I'm 21. I'm not the oldest person here, but trust me, in my experiences in life, the world always leaves me so empty. Is this too hype? Is this too hype for a adult class right now, a morning class? I don't want to get on anybody's nerves, but see, I'm excited because like this man's crazy. He's awesome. After a lot of discussion with Job and his friends trying to explain the ways of God, the Lord finally answers Job and says, "Where wast thou when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare, if thou hast understanding, who hath laid the measures thereof? If thou knowest, or who hath stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof?" You see, God just starts saying all of these things he has done as if to tell Job, his ways are greater than ours. Created the oceans. He created the sky, the universe, the whole universe. The universe is big. God was just like, snap of his fingers. That's pretty cool. God, I think God's got it. I think I'm going to trust in God. He created all this. He had it all in his plans, right? After all this conversation between Job and God, Job was blessed with twice as much as he had before. You see, what we didn't see when we were hurting, what we didn't see when we were in pain, what I didn't see in my trial, what I didn't see when I had to leave Urshan and go back home and I didn't know what I was going to do. My life, it just twisted around so fast. I had everything planned in front of me. I knew where I was going. There was a direction. There was a path. I was walking in it, right? And when that all changed, I didn't think God was great enough. God, how could you love me after what I've done? How could you take me back after these sins and these things? I'm so imperfect. I don't deserve this. God, I'm so little. I'm small. Yes, sir. You're doing good. See, I want to be like Job. I want to be like Job. God restored his health, granted him twice as much property as before, gave him new children, and a remarkably long life. See, if you don't get anything else from what I have said today, you don't have to get anything else, but I need you to listen to this. Listen to this one statement. I want you to be able to quote it to me after service. I'm totally kidding, but listen. You see, We want to be Job. Right? You're on it. You're on it. That's my exact point. You see, we want to be Job, but we don't want his trials. Oh my goodness. We want to be people who dedicated everything we had to the Lord, but we don't want to suffer as Job did. Are the blessings he has for us worth the pain we will have to endure for them? Are the blessings he has for us worth the pain we will have to endure for it? That's important. That's an important question. Are these things that God has in your future planned for you, is it worth it? Is it? You said that you went all around the country serving with your husband, and it was worth it, right? God blessed you, right? He's been faithful. It's incredible. See, I want to be just like that. See, to be as Job was, knowing that things would scar him, things would hurt him, he would go through trial, he would go through these times that were so hard on him, who made him question everything that he was, who he didn't want to. Job was saying in verses, I think it's in chapter 3 or it's somewhere, chapter 7, he's just cursing his life. He's like, God, I wish I wasn't born. Why was I born if these bad things are going to happen to me? I don't get it. See, in our times of loss, we curse God and turn our back on him. We prove the devil right. We are shallow in our covenant with God. When something goes wrong, we give up. We are shallow in its covenant. See, a covenant's deep. It's a promise. And the only person that's going to break a covenant between you and God is you. God's not going to break it. God already promised you. He promised you. God doesn't break promises. I don't know if you serve the same God I serve, but I know that my God's never broken a promise to me. The only person that's ran away or backed away or went another direction is me. I'm the only one that's ran away from God. God's never just said, no, I don't want you anymore. I don't care about you anymore. You see, it might seem that he just was cursing Job, but no, he wanted to give him this double portion, but it was through tests, and it was through trial, and it was through things that were going to hurt him. But you see, these things made Job. They made him. What a man of God. What a man of God. That's a man of God I want to follow, who went through all these trials, and I'm not wishing bad times on you. I would hate that. I don't want anything bad to happen to all of you. I love all of you. I want the best for your lives and your ministries. But you see, I want the double portion. Yes, sir. And at this point, from what I've went through already, I'm willing to go through whatever it is. God, send the rain. I don't want it. I got an umbrella. I'm tucked. I have my raincoat on. God, send the rain. Like, that's cool, but that double portion is everything. It's everything I want. It's everything I am. It's everything I was born for. It's what I was destined for. This double portion. I've lost so much in my life. And in my humanity, in my imperfection, I run away from God. I'm bitter. I'm spiteful. And I question the Lord. But all God wants for us is to trust him. That's right. Simple, right? That's it. Take this leap of faith. Jump over the edge. I know it isn't all perfect right now, and it may not make any sense, but I promise you, if you can get through the trial, he's going to bless you with this double portion. He will double your blessing. If you want to be Job, you have to be willing to suffer as Job did. You have to be willing to take on these trials, to go through this pain, to receive abundance. Can I tell y'all that now? In like your trial, anybody going through something? Anybody? If not, you can save this for later, but I'm telling you right now, like if you just stick with it, if you trust in God, if you have faith in him, I mean, he brought you this far. You're here now. Like, what have you been through? Because I know that I shouldn't be here right now. I'm a pastor's son from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, but there was trials in my life. I was addicted to drugs. Let me be very honest with y'all. I used to drink. I used to try these things in the world, these things that made me feel so good about myself that made me think I don't need God. Why would I need God if I can feel this good right now? But you see, it just leads to this emptiness, this empty feeling, because God wanted so much more. He wanted so much more for you than what you have settled for, than what you're okay with, than these things that the world has given you that you're like, oh, this is enough. See, it's not enough for me. I'm desperate for this, guys. I want this so bad. I want this so bad. I know it's not my church, but I want this for y'all because it is the kingdom growing. It is growth. It is the church growing. That's what we're here for. We're here for it. It's not about me. It's not about me today. I wanted to come in here with the most humble spirit. I am dust. And Lord God formed man to the dust of the ground and breathed into his nostrils the breath of life, and man became a living being. See, I am dust. It's an honor to serve the Lord. Even through my pain, even when I didn't understand, even when I was just searching for God, like, where is he at? I was addicted to all these things, and I thought that was all he had for me. I thought I disqualified myself. You see, I disqualified myself. I'm not good enough for this. I'm not good enough to speak here today. Y'all, these thoughts are in my mind. I have to fight these things. You see, it's a daily battle. You have to expect this daily battle. I was talking with Brother McElhaney, and he's telling me about the trials he did to come and start this church. And this is incredible. Each soul matters. Each person. That's another person in the kingdom being able to invest in their workplace and the people they know and their family members. You see, this is a family here. I love that. Your path, like, is beautiful. You see, Brother McElhaney, I want that. It might not have been the most perfect thing in the perfect path, but I want that, you know? And I know that you suffered and there were hard times and there were trials. We have to be okay with that because there's a double portion over here. See, but we're stuck over here. We're stuck right here. Chilling. We're good. We're good with this. This is cool. You know, I feel really good here. This is okay with me. I'm cool here. Why would I go anywhere else? You know what I'm saying? The food's good. You know, I like it. I'm comfortable. There's a bed. There's a couch. You know, I have everything. But the double portion's over there. I really went out of my notes, okay? But I feel like God has something to say. I know that we're weary. God, I've been so weary. I've been working. I've schoolwork. I've all A's. I just want to say that. Not to brag. Kind of brag a little bit, all right? This is like the first time in my life. I'm really happy about it. I've always crazy. Definitely not in my notes. We have to, even through weariness, trust in the Lord, as Job did. His life wasn't perfect. He faced so much stuff. I would think if I read this story, like, there's no way. There's no way he kept living for God. He lost all 10 of his kids. All 10 of his kids. Along with his camels and sheep. But like his kids? I don't want that. I don't want to lose all that. But if you want to be Job, again I say, you have to be willing to suffer as he did. I want us all today, I want to be so thankful. You know, I know not everything's been perfect in our lives and not everything's went the way we thought or envisioned it, but this is it's God's perfect plan. And what an honor and a pleasure it is to be here today, to serve the Lord and give up everything that I have. Because it's his breath in my lungs. My life is his to give. That's humbling. This is a pleasure. It's a pleasure to wake up every day and be in covenant with God. You need to build this covenant. As Job had a covenant with God, a promise to God, between God and man, we have to build this. This isn't just like we go to school and me and Tav, we have to build our covenants. In class, they're like, build your covenants with God. Absolutely. We all need to build a covenant with God. That's not just for me. It's not just for me and Tav. I want everyone to build this covenant with God because once you're in covenant, God will take care of you. He will. He'll keep you. All right? And even I'm not saying your life's going to be perfect and there's not going to be trials and storms, but see, these are tests. We have to prove God right. I don't want to prove the devil right. Are you kidding me? I would hate to prove the devil right. I'm going to get riled up. No, I don't want that. I want to prove God right. Be in covenant with God. Let's be like Job. In Jesus' name, thank y'all so much for listening to me today. I appreciate it.
Praise the Lord. Let's give Brother Davis a good hand this morning. There were so many things that jumped into my mind while he was teaching today.